Hello everyone, this is Farzana from farzanaslaw, and thank you so much for joining me today. And this is a very brand new live stream which I'm going to be talking about a very important topic, which is how to be confident when sitting your exams. And this is coming from, again, from someone who has, double graduated, who has done her GCSEs, done her A-Levels, has done everything, and now she's basically ready to be able to advise to the students on how to get the right grades, best grades, and how to be confident when it comes to education, academic learning, and everything like that. Because I believe that the more you're obviously experienced, the more you as go by your years of education and how to really do well in exams and everything like that, and you have gone through all of that basically from the past 20 years personally for myself, then obviously you get an idea of what is basically going to work out for you and what is not going to work out for you. So hence why I'm going to be today sharing with you all accordingly how to be confident when sitting your exams and how to ace your exams very effectively. So that's basically the premise of today's video and live stream. So what I'm going to do now, first of all, whilst I let some people join in this live chat, I'm going to put my link tree down so that in the chat is basically put as a pin so that you can access it basically any time of this live stream. And also after this live stream ends, you can have access to that as well. So I'm going to try and put this right now, and whilst I'm also filming this live stream today, I'm gonna make sure that I'm having my iced latte, which is very important to me in terms of energy and fuel for the live streams that I do after I come back from work. Literally I just popped it into my house, into my room literally 5 minutes ago, and I basically wanted to set up everything and come on and talk to you guys today. So this is a very important topic that I feel like that again is very important, because I feel like that if you don't know how to sit your exams and you don't know how to be confident when you are in that setting of exams, then what's the point of you studying for the whole year? What's the point of you revising for the whole year and then you do not get the best grades as much as possible? So I'm going to put my volume down. I can hear myself and see myself as well. So I'm going to put the link in the chat, and then for now I'm going to leave it like that so that anyone who wants to access my courses, my digital courses, my services, products, whatever that might be, they can always have access to it very easily and nicely in that link tree that I've linked in this chat right now. So now that I have basically have covered the basics and the introduction of this premise of what I'm doing and everything like that, I'm briefly going to go through my link tree, and then I'm going to start with my tips. So I'm going to be sharing with you all 10 tips today, which are very, very important to me. And I'm going to put my phone a bit closer to me so then you can think as though we are basically doing a video call basically. So what I'm going to do today in today's live stream, again, as I mentioned before to you all, is the fact that go through my link tree very briefly, and then I'm going to go through the tips on how to be confident when sitting your exams, because exams are a very important part of your life when you're a student in general, no matter what age you are, what nationality, what education system you're basically following and you're in. It doesn't matter. It just means that, education is important regardless, and you need to know how to effectively study and how to ace your exams very effectively. So if I go through my link tree very quickly in about a minute or two. So if you click the link that I basically just put in the chat right now, and also it will be available in the description box as well as in the after the live stream ends as well, then you will be able to understand why this is a very important link. So first things first, what I've included in this link tree, in this link that I've linked in the chat right now, is basically my coaching services, my tutoring services. If you want to get an access to my 3 first-class essays where I got over 70% and above, which is also considered a first-class honors in the UK education system, then you can have access to those 3. Then I have 3 digital courses, one for marriage, one for stress management in Islam. The third one is for the first-class lifestyle, how to be successful and happy. And then I've also got my podcast, which is also known as Girl How, which is with my sister, and this is for specifically for girls and women, but anyone can actually honestly listen to that. And in the second section on my link tree is basically it's basically my products, which are basically, like, for example, things like my productive past paper planner with 30 amplified affirmations, which basically talks about things like how to really effectively use your past papers to the best of your capability to get the highest number of grades. And yeah, so basically these are some of the products that I've linked with you all in this live chat right now. And somebody has basically left a comment, so I believe it's Lial, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So are you Muslim? They have asked me, and the answer is yes, I am. alhamdulillah, I'm very much Muslim, 100% certified. And she also said, or he also said, hi, I'm also Muslim, wallah, I'm Muslim. Okay, so we have understood that Lial is a Muslim person or a human being, and so am I. So thank you so much for joining me today, Lial, and I hope that you're going to be staying with me till the very end of this live stream, and where I talk about how to be confident when sitting exams, especially if this is your first time sitting exams and you have no absolute idea how to really deal with these things, because as I said before, you've never dealt with it. And Lial said, you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I feel like they can be a very daunting experience. It's an experience that not everybody likes, obviously, because you always hear this preconceived notion that, exams are such a pain, or they're very difficult, challenging, they can be very nerve-wracking, they can cause a lot of anxiety and all that kind of stuff. So which are all valid, excuses or reasons that people put out when it comes to exams and how to deal with them very effectively. But I'm here to tell you that everything which is considered quote unquote negative can be seen as a positive thing as well. And so obviously things that are healthy I'm talking about. So exams, in a way, in this context, for example, can be considered something which is very much good, because they can test your knowledge, how much you've learned, how much you've revised, how much were you prepared before this exam. But at the same time, it can be something which is obviously very negative, because it's, you can just fail. Like, your education system might not allow you to actually just redo your exam again, because once you fail, and then you can't do nothing about it. So there are pros and cons to every kind of situation in your life. You just have to see the positive side. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's always something to be grateful for the rest of your life. And the fact that you're alive, you're watching me right now, you have your eyes, your ears, your mouth, you're able to speak, basically, that basically is something to be blissful and blessed of. And there's no denying that, because obviously some things happen to your life, and that's absolutely fine, but you need to just get over it and move on very quickly, fast and furious, and just get over it and just accept where you are, and just keep improving your life as much as you can. So this is why I'm going to be talking about today how to basically be confident when sitting your exams, because I feel like that as a student is a very important skill that you need to develop as a student, because without that, then you don't actually know how to make sure that you're getting the best grades as much as possible, if you know what I mean. So this is a very important topic, and something that honestly I've struggled myself, because in some exams what I used to feel was that I would feel very daunted, very stressed, very anxious, thinking that what's going to happen to me. And then also in some other exams I'll be completely opposite. I'll be really looking forward to it, which was honestly very rare, but I'll be sometimes looking forward to it. I will be looking forward to the fact that I'm going to be challenged today, or I'm going to be challenged through this exam, whatever I've learned and how much I can remember, and how much I understood the concepts, the content, and the facts of that particular topic or subject. So these 10 tips are very, very important, and I feel like that these will definitely help you, especially these tips are coming from someone who has, again, done her GCSEs, her A-Levels, her first undergraduate degree, which was completed in 2020, and then I've done my postgraduate degree in 2022. So basically I have a wide range of experience on when it comes to education and studying and revising, and how to really ace your exams. So if any one of you actually do have any questions at any point, and you feel like that you didn't understand something what I said, you can always let me know in the chat. And also if you feel like that you want to add your own tips to this, then you can also do that as well in the chat, and then I'll repeat it. So as soon as I state one particular tip, then I will basically answer any questions or comments, and then I'll move on to the next one. That's basically how I like to do my live streams, because that's giving the people enough time to ask questions, comment on the tips, but at the same time it is not making me like miss so many comments, because I'm basically saying all the 10 tips first, and then I've basically not picked up any questions in between, and what was basically the relevancy of that particular tip I'm going to be sharing with you all today. So if everybody's ready to start, let me know if you can hear me and see me very well, because from my laptop what I can hear, that I can hear myself, I can see myself properly, but obviously your screen might be different. If you can let me know that, then that would be very helpful and kind. And again, as I basically allow you guys to let me know that you can hear me and see me, I'm going to be mentioning the fact that I needed this, because as I said before, just before 10 minutes ago, I literally came at home and I decided I want to do this live stream. Honestly, my eyes are very heavy and tired, but here we are, and we are going to be using the energy of ice latte to be able to survive today throughout this whole live stream. And obviously I'm not going to be making sure that this is unnecessarily goes long, because I want to make sure that I'm useful. I'm making use of your time and my time as well as much as possible. So if I see that not many people are asking questions, not engaging, then obviously I'll have to end the live stream over there. So there you go. So I'm going to be now starting on with my first tip on this live stream on how to be confident when sitting your exam. So the number one thing is that you do the first thing you ever have to do as a student when you're sitting that, sitting down in your exam hall and you're just in front of you, what the only thing you can see is your exam paper, is the first thing you do is skim through the exam paper as soon as you open it. This is very crucial. Why? Because I've actually made a series on my YouTube channel where I share with you all 30 study tips, and that was basically in light of Ramadan and how to study during Ramadan. But I think those tips that I've shared with you in that particular playlist is universal. Honestly, you can use it even when it's not Ramadan. But one of the things that I remember I shared with you all at that time was skimming through the past paper, sorry, the exam paper, as soon as you open it and you receive it in front of your, when you answer, as soon as you're allowed to open your exam paper, the first thing you should be doing is skimming through that damn paper. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like that as soon as, one of the mistakes that I've ever made as a student was that as soon as I received the paper, I would just open and answer the first question, because that would be the natural default thing to do, because you want to make sure that you're answering all the questions as the order that they come. But obviously that's a scam. You know why? Because some of the important questions or lengthy questions or questions that have the highest number of marks, they're basically always in the middle, or there might be the fifth question or the sixth question out of the 10 questions or something like that. Basically, I hope that what I'm trying to say is very much clear, because I know that the examiners want to, obviously they don't want you to fail you. I don't want you to think that they want you to fail and not pass your exams. That's not basically the aim of that. But what I'm trying to say is that they might put you in the spot to see the how clever you are, how smart you are, to be able to check all the questions first, and then you get to choose which questions you want to answer first. And that's how you have to be in when it comes to exam season. You cannot be thinking that, oh, the first question has popped up, I have to answer that. That might be only 1 mark. Like, what's the point of wasting your precious, energetic, as soon as you sit at exams, as soon as you open that exam is when you have the highest level of energy. That's what I'm trying to say. So do not waste it by just answering questions that might not be really that worth, like 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, even 5 markers, when there's something sitting for you that it might be worthy of 20 marks, 30 marks, 40 marks, whatever that might be. Basically, whatever subject, whatever education system you have, that's completely up to you and whatever you experience, because these tips are completely universal, as I mentioned before. And skimming through the exam paper is very, very important. I remember once when I was doing this particular, I think it was chemistry GCSE paper or something like that, my chemistry paper, or was it physics, I'm not sure, but I don't remember. It was a sciencey subject. I don't remember clearly what year it was, but I remember that as soon as I was allowed to open that particular paper, then basically what happened is that I answered the first question and the second question, third question, and by the time it was halfway through the allotted time that I was allowed to do that exam, then I realized there was something really, really big waiting for me, and I didn't even realize, because as soon as I saw the first question, I just started answering it. And obviously that can be very detrimental, again, as I said before, because you do not know what question or what number of marks are waiting for you down the line of that paper. So it's very important that you're skimming through the paper as soon as you receive it, and take your time, even if you take 1 minute to be able to see all the questions and understand what the question is trying to basically ask you, and how to answer it, how to plan it, what are the number of marks. Assess these kind of things first, and then go ahead and start answering the questions. Do not be that kind of a student or a person who doesn't know these things. So it's very, very important, very crucial, and I highly recommend for you to be able to skimming through the exam paper as quickly as possible as soon as you receive the paper. And obviously that's very important, and I cannot stress that enough. So I hope that this tip has definitely helped someone out there who is going through exam period right now and they don't know how to handle exam papers, how to really behave, how to be confident in exam situations. So I hope that this tip has been definitely helpful for you. And if you have any questions, queries, answers, comments, or anything like that, let me know now before I move on to the next one. So that was the first tip. So skim through the exam paper as soon as you receive it, as soon as you open it, and see which questions carry the most number of marks, which are the ones that you're more confident to answer. And do not just jump in the bandwagon and just answer the first question, because that can be a trick for you to quote unquote like not have enough time to answer all the appropriate and important questions in the exam paper. So I'm going to be taking a sip of my iced latte till I wait anyone who has any comments, questions, queries to be able to let me know if they have understood or not. And whilst you guys are doing that, I'm going to put charge on my phone that I'm recording on, because it's not really down, but I want to make sure that whilst I'm live streaming, this does not go down basically. So let's see if I can do this. Can I do this? Yes, I can. So now my phone is charging, and I'm gonna move on to the next tip. The second thing that you should be doing on how to really embody and be confident when sitting your exams, and this is again coming from a double graduate, is that wear comfortable clothes on the day of the exams. Do not be those kind of students who think that, you know, if I look the most coolest, the most elegant, the most beautiful, the most, you know, the most makeup-y person, the most popular person on the exam day, then that means that I'm gonna pass the exam, or I'm gonna be impressing everyone and making them think that, oh my gosh, she can do it all, or he can do it all, and all the kind of BS that basically comes with, you know, thinking that you have to be the most popular person in your school, college, or university. But honestly, if I tell you a bit, very, very honestly, on the exam day nobody sees you, and that's the truth, because everybody is focusing on themselves and their own success, their own exams, what are they going to write for what answer, whatever it might be. They're not thinking about who's wearing what, who's wearing makeup, who's not wearing makeup, and who is wearing makeup, who is wearing the most designer clothes, and all that kind of stuff. It is all about comfort when it comes to the exam day. You do not want to be feeling burdened for the fact that you're wearing something uncomfortable that, you know, you might not be feeling like it. Obviously I don't mean here obviously to wear pajamas when you come to the exam hall. I don't want you to wear pajamas. I don't want you to wear something that you'll only wear at home, for example, or when you're alone. But it just means that you are wearing things that makes you feel very comforting, that doesn't make you feel uncomfortable when you're gonna go out. For example, let's say some women, what they do is that they wear clothes that might be very uncomfortable for them because of the way the material it is on the clothes and how it touches on their body. Obviously sometimes you have to wear things like this for certain occasions. Women like to do that. I don't know why, but they do. And obviously you cannot be doing these kind of things on exam period. Why? Because your attention, your focus, your energy will go only on that, on your discomfort of your clothes, on what kind of clothes you're basically wearing on that day, instead of actually focusing on the most important thing, which is the exam itself. So it's very important that you are taking care of yourself and wearing something which is very comfortable, especially for women. I feel like that if you wear something which is loose and something that is not tight to your skin, and something that is basically not allowing air to travel through your body, and it's not making you feel comfortable and loose, and you know, you can move around very easily basically when you're wearing those kind of clothes, I highly recommend for you to wear those kind of clothes. Basically you need to be able to wear something which is very clean, very nice, comfortable, loose, and it just makes you feel like that, you know, it's just comforting. Basically you need to feel very, very comfort. That's basically the main premise of this point, is the fact that the more comfortable you are, the more you're not going to be thinking about what you're wearing, how you're looking, and all that kind of stuff, when everything is just plain, clear, natural, and innocent basically. So I hope that this tip has helped someone out there, and importance of, you know, some people might think that, you know, oh, it's my first exam, I need to wear certain things, otherwise people are gonna think, why did you wear this to exams, or why didn't you wear this instead, and stuff like that. But you know, with teenagers it's very important that you say these kind of things, because some teenagers can feel very tempted and misled and manipulated by people that might be giving them so many advices which are not really right, and things that are not very important basically, or especially during exam season and exam period. So it is my duty as an older sister to you all to give you advices that you do need to hear, the things that might can be considered common sense, but sometimes common sense is not common. So hence why if I say myself, then it might make feel someone who is out there who doesn't have a sibling, or doesn't have who has parents who didn't go through exams and all that kind of stuff. If I say anything like this, and maybe it can help someone out there, and that's basically my aim always, is to be able to give advice that will help the general population, that will help the most number of people, and not necessarily one section of people. And yeah, so that will be the second tip that I'm going to be sharing with you all today. So the first of all I've shared with you all is the fact that skim through the exam paper as soon as you receive it, as soon as you're allowed to open it. And number two is to wear comfortable clothes, because I'm trust me, the more you feel comfortable during when you're sitting that exam, the more you're going to feel confident on the exam and the actual answers to the questions basically, because you're not going to be thinking about your clothes and how you're looking and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that this helps, and if you have any questions, queries, answers, comments, let me know now whilst I sip my iced latte. So there you go. And now I'm going to be moving on very swiftly. If no one has any questions, queries, answers, then I'm going to be moving on to the third tip of this live stream. And that is the fact that keep enough pens with you. This is again very important because I feel like that if you have got stuff available to you and you know that in the back of your head that I have enough of these things in my bag or in my stationery, pencil case, whatever that might be, then it gives you the confidence to be able to perform really well in your exams because you have enough of those things. You don't have to think about, oh my god, I left my very important pen at home or something like that. So it's very important that you are keeping things which are very important to you, especially during the exam, when you're sitting in the exam hall. For example, things like pen is very important because sometimes during exam period, it is very easy to think that, oh yeah, the invigilator might have it, or the invigilator will have enough pen to provide during the exam period. I don't have to think about carrying extra pens with me during the exam period. But let's be honest, sometimes invigilators and some of the schools might not provide you with that, and that's why you need to keep your own self very then you need to oops, I can hear some noise in the background. But anyway, so basically what I'm trying to say is that sometimes even if you know that the invigilator can provide you with the right stationery products, which means pens, pencils, rulers, whatever the mind you need in that exam period, it doesn't mean that you cannot actually carry your own stuff, if you know what I mean. Because sometimes invigilators can forget, or that some of the schools, institutions, college, universities might not be having. I think something happened to my live stream. I hope I'm back. So basically, I think my internet connection was very low. But what my point was that always carry enough stuff with you. So if you want to carry, I would say, if I know I could be very exaggerating and I could be someone who is a bit too much over the top when it comes to these things. What I'm gonna say, it's very important, is that you keep at least 5 pens with you, especially during exam period and when you're sitting down those exams. The reason why I say this is because the number 5 gives me the confidence that I have enough pens to be able to use in case if any of them lost, or if somebody wants to borrow mine, whatever the reason might be. It's very important that you're carrying enough stationery with you. And this doesn't mean that you bring your whole stationery closet with you in the exam period or in exam hall, but it just means that you have enough stationery to be able to feel relaxed for the fact that in case if the invigilator doesn't have a ruler, I have it. In case if the invigilator doesn't have enough pens, I have it. In case if the invigilator doesn't have a compass, I have it. In case if the invigilator doesn't have the rubber, then I can actually basically rely on the stuff that I basically got with myself. And so basically this kind of little things gives you a lot of confidence. It makes you feel confident during the exam period because you're not relying on someone else. And number 2, you can actually focus on answering those questions in the exam, which are far more important than actually understanding and knowing what the hell kind of stationery does the invigilator have and not have, basically. So I hope that this tip has definitely helped you all and made you understand for the fact that keeping enough stationery is not a bad thing, but do not be obviously over the top and bring your whole stationery closet in your exam hall. But just carry enough things for you to feel confident the fact that you have enough resources to rely on in case if any of them run out, break, or there isn't enough of it in the example. For example, let's say if the invigilator has only brought with them 5 compasses and this is a maths paper, for example, then obviously, and if there are 50 students taking that exam, then obviously, and those students have not got with them, most of them have not got with them compass, which means that the students will be relying on the invigilators compasses or stationary products to be able to actually sit that exam very effectively. But you do not have to be in that situation. That's what I'm trying to say. So always bring your own stuff, and that would make you so much confident during the exam period, I promise. So now I'm going to be moving on to the 4th tip, but before that, I'm going to be answering some questions and queries and comments that people might have. So Lamborghini Empire said salam, walaikum assalam, and thank you so much for joining me today. And they said something to do with King Banana, but I'm not sure. I think King Banana used to be one of the people that used to comment on my live chat. I think they got banned. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if that is true or false, so I'm just gonna let it be, basically. And the Alyan 17 and I'm a Muslim, where are you from? So this is a very common question that I basically get asked every time I basically come on the live stream, and I'm actually living in London right now. So I am a South Asian Muslim woman living in London, or I'm working in London, basically. So Alyan 17, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that you will be staying with me till the very end. And yeah, so, and Lamborghini Empire, thank you for that, thank you for that information. I mean, there's nothing much I can do about this except that I say salam to you and walaikum salam to you as well. And yeah, so I hope that these tips are helping you guys. Can you let me know if these tips are helping you or not? Because I'm not doing this, you know, for a service for myself, obviously, but I'm trying to help you guys as much as possible. And also Anas Vayani said walaikum assalam. So I mean, I say salam to you, assalamu alaikum, and you say walaikum assalam. That's amazing, and thank you so much for joining me today. Now I'm going to be moving on to the fourth tip, which is very, very crucial and important when it comes to how to be confident when sitting those exams in your student life, basically academic life. So the fourth tip is double check all your answers, but do not change anything in the last minute. The reason why I say this is because it's very important, of course, to make sure that your handwriting makes sense whenever you're writing any kind of answers in the exam. But do not be the type of a person who is, there's only literally 5 minutes left and you're deciding to change all of the answers. That's not going to be really effective, and that's going to be making you feel very panicky. Because why do I say this? Because this has happened to me before, where, you know, I was literally 5 minutes left till the exam ends, and then I decided slowly to change all the answers that I had given, especially multiple choice questions in the exam. I had decided to change one by one, and obviously when I saw that there was only 1 minute left and I had basically changed some of the answers, obviously that made me feel doubtful whether I did the right thing or not, and that obviously put me a lot of pressure and nervousness for the fact that, oh my god, was my first answer right, or my second answer is right, or the second answer might be incorrect, whatever I basically crossed out and I put it again basically as the answer. So it's very important that you're not doing these last minute changes when it comes to your exams, because it's not really effective, it's not really good. And just trust that whatever you have written is good for you, and whatever you have, obviously, if you think that there is something is obviously a mistake, like you're 100% guaranteed, you know that it was a mistake the first time around, and you want to cross it off and write the second answer properly, then obviously you can do that. But do not do this for everything now, for every single answer that you've already given and crossed out and ticked already, basically, because again, that will make you a lot of, it will put you in a lot of fear consciousness, nervous consciousness, and you're going to be feeling very anxious because you're not going to have enough time in case if you want to revert back to the original answer that you had basically given. And obviously after the exam ends and the time is up, basically, then you're going to be feeling very bad about yourself, because you're going to be thinking that, oh my god, what was the right answer? I don't know now anymore, because I just changed everything in the last minute. So don't do that, because that's going to be very ineffective for you. And I believe that the more you do that, then obviously that's not really effective and nice, and obviously that can change a lot of, that can actually again put you a lot of and especially if you have more exams coming up, then that can put you in a lot of anxious consciousness, that it might be wasting your energy to be able to revise for the next exams that you might have been coming up as well. So double check all of your answers. I'm not saying that never ever check your answers or anything like that. Check if your handwriting makes sense, and you know everything is making sense, and everything is put through, and your answers are making sense, your handwriting is making sense. You're not writing something which is not the language that you're supposed to write, basically, and the teacher won't be able to, or the examiner won't be able to answer whatever you've written. So make sure that your handwriting is very clear when whatever you've written. And as someone who doesn't have the best of the handwritings, I'm here to tell you that it's very important that you do that, because sometimes you may have written something and it doesn't really make sense if it was read by someone else's lenses or eyes. So it's very important that you are double checking your answers, but do not change everything in the last minute, because again, that's going to be very ineffective for you, and you're going to be feeling very anxious at the end of it, especially if you have literally 5 minutes left till the exam ends, basically. So I hope that this tip has helped you all, and you can let me know in the chat if these tips are helping you or not, because that helps me guide through all the kind of content that I should be making in the next couple of weeks, months and years, inshallah, till the day I die, basically. So so if anyone can let me know if these tips are helping you or not, that will be very helpful for me, and I'll feel very grateful, and knowing that this is basically helping someone out there. So I'm gonna revert back to my original. I can keep filming this because I don't want to be using my mobile data, obviously, because it's limited. So there you go. So very, very important is making sure that, so far, what are the tips that I've shared with you all are 4 tips. Number 1, skim through the exam paper as soon as you open it. Number 2, wear comfortable clothes on the day of the exam. Number 3, keep enough stationery with you. Number 4 is double check all of your answers, but do not change everything in the last minute, all of your answers in the last minute, because that can actually put you in a lot of nervousness and anxious consciousness, basically. So now I'm going to be moving on to the 5th tip. If nobody has any questions, queries, or answers, which means that everybody's making sense, I believe. So everybody's understanding what I'm saying. So number 5 is that leave your house in plenty of time. This is again very crucial, and this is coming from someone who has always been punctual in her life. Like I'm a type of a person who likes to be very, very punctual. I'm a type of a person who, if I have to stay in a place, if I have to be somewhere at 9, if it helps me and my, punctuality, I would basically be waiting there half an hour before that. So at 8:30 I will be already there. That kind of a person, that's the kind of a person I am. Honestly, I like to be punctual as much as possible, because I believe that the more punctual you are, the less nervous and stressed you are, because you already know you're in the place that you're supposed to be, and you do not have to be fearful of the fact that you might be in the wrong place or the wrong the wrong exam hall, especially if your exam is happening somewhere that is different than your own institution or your school, college, or university. Then it's very important that you know what is the location and you be there in plenty of time, because if you don't do that, then obviously that's putting you again in a lot of stress, because you're losing unnecessary energy they could be using in answering those questions. Excuse me. Answering those questions, and you're just basically wasting on being stressed on where to be, or where is your exam location, or where is basically where you're supposed to sit that exam. So it's very important that you're leaving your house in plenty of time to be confident when sitting those exams, and being, efficient and productive when sitting those exams. Because again, you don't want to be that of a person who comes very late, loses 5 minutes of their exam, precious exam time, and they're forced to basically write as quickly as possible, as rightly as possible, and they don't have the time to basically check at the end the answers and all that kind of situation. So all of these kind of situations and bad things can be avoided if you can leave your home very, very early and in plenty of time. It doesn't matter whether your school is literally 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, half an hour away, or 1 hour away. It doesn't matter the length of where your institution is, but as long as you're leaving your house in plenty of time and you have enough time to relax and not be anxious for the fact that, oh my god, my exam is going to start in 10 minutes and I'm still half an hour away from the place. So do not be on those kind of situations, especially during exam period, because that can put you in a lot of, again, as I said before, in a lot of stress mode, which is obviously never ever good. Like, for anyone to suffer from anxiety, stress, depression, anything like that is never good. And especially when it comes to something like an exam, it's very important to avoid those kind of situations and prioritize your mental health as much as possible, and be making sure that you are lessening your chances of feeling anxious as much as possible. And you can do this by doing these little things that I'm sharing with you all today. And these things, again, do not cost any money. These are all cost effective, free, and it doesn't have to require a lot of things, trust me. And it's just all about the mindset. When the mindset is very clear when it comes to sitting your exams, then everything becomes so much easier for you. Everything feels like, oh my god, this is a piece of cake. And it's all about the mindset. Trust me, it's all about the mindset. And these 10 things that I'm sharing with you all today are going to help you with your mindset, are going to help you being a positive, motivated, concentrated, and high level of energy person, which is very much important when sitting down exams, especially if it's your first time you sitting your first ever GCSE exam, A-level exam, degree level exam, whatever that might be, wherever you are in the world. As I said before, these tips will definitely help you. So I hope that this has motivated you in some way, shape, or another to be able to leave home very much plenty of time. Do not be afraid to leave your home on time, and be there on time. And even if you have to wait till your exam hall opens at, let's say, if you're already in exam hall at 8:30 but your exam starts at 9 a.m, that's completely fine. I'd rather you be in that situation than you be half an hour late to your exam, because again, time is very precious when it comes to exam, and every second, millisecond matters when you're in that exam period, in that exam hall, writing those answers, because every minute, every second, every millisecond even is very precious and important to you. So this was my 5th tip. And also I'm going to be going to my chat. So Nurul Saizwani, I hope that I have pronounced that correctly, and forgive me if I am wrong. Hello, I'm new, and they said I'm Muslim. That's amazing. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, that's amazing. I have so many Muslim people joining me and watching my live stream, and that makes me feel very motivated, very uplifted, and I feel like that I should be doing more and more of this to be able to help my brothers and sisters in Islam. And they are from Malaysia. Oh my god, that's absolutely amazing. That is so cool. And I just love the fact that I'm in London and somebody is watching me from Malaysia. Like, that is so cool, and that makes me like boggles my mind, because we're literally in two polar opposite sides of the world. And that makes me feel amazing, and I cannot be grateful enough to God, for Allah, to Allah for creating the internet for that reason. It's so good. And of course they said free Palestine. I mean, all the way, yes. And inshallah they will be definitely free one day. That's all I'm gonna say for that. So anyone has any questions about the tips that I've shared with you all? I have already said 5 and I have more 5 to go, and I hope that these are definitely helping you in some way or another. I'm going to be waiting for a couple of more seconds before I move on to the 6th one. Oh, Nurul has suggested a very good topic, how to be a nice person. I mean, if I can think of a tip from the top of my head, which is not obviously related to the live stream, but if I have to give one tip on how to be a nice person, is to be nice to yourself. That's very, very important. And once you are nice to yourself, you automatically want to be nice to other people, and other people want to be nice to you. So it's very important that you are nice to yourself, kind to yourself, and then you attract kind people naturally, because you're a kind person yourself and you're a kind human being to yourself. I hope that that answer really does help you, Nurul. And they have also mentioned that somebody got bullied. I mean, life happens. You know, some experiences happen in your life because they want to teach you certain things, and Allah wants to teach you certain things, not in a negative way, not teaching as in like, oh my god, you're a bad human being, I'm going to teach you something. No, but in a way that it wants to teach you some kind of skills, resilience, and change your perspective in a certain way. So some things happen like that, so that, you know, you can see life in a different way, basically, and you can see life in a more different way, in a more wise way, and you get to learn experiences, because obviously experiences are more expensive than books, than reading everything from the book and everything like that. So I hope that that answer has definitely helped you. And okay, so Nura, I'll come back to you, and if you can phrase that question more properly with a question mark at the end, then maybe I will be able to help you with that specific question. But now I'm going to be moving on to the 6th tip. So the 6th tip is basically, as soon as you enter in the exam hall, please focus on you. Very important. And this goes back to the second point that I've shared with you all about wearing comfortable clothes, because as soon as you enter in the exam hall, the only focus should be on you, not what your best friend is doing, not what your sister is doing at home, not what your mother is doing today, or whatever your teacher is doing today. Where is the teacher? Oh my god, I can't see them. Or whatever is your, you know, friend, where did they go, which seat are they sitting on? Like, these kind of things should not be even coming into your brain when you're entering that exam hall. This is very important, because I cannot stress enough how important it is to focus on yourself, because focusing on yourself is currency when it comes to being a student. Because the more you focus on yourself, the more you have time to improve on yourself, the more you have time to focus on your own weaknesses and turn them into strength, basically. So do not be that kind of a student who's always thinking about, oh my god, let me see my friend, where is she sitting, or let me see where the teacher is, or the invigilator is, or where is this person, that person, oh my god, I hate that person. And don't be that kind of a person. Basically, it's very important that you're focusing on yourself, especially when you're sitting that exam, because this exam might be very important to you when it comes to when you go and seek that job opportunity, or when you go and seek that university that you want to go to, or if you want to go to that specific college that provides that specific level of A-levels that you want to do, and they have the grades that you want to have, basically. So everything is basically interconnected with you. And if you, the more you focus on yourself, the more you focus on improving yourself and making sure that you're giving your best as much as possible in this exam, the least you're going to be thinking about others. You're going to have enough time or energy or brain power to be able to think about other people, especially when you're sitting in that exam hall. You should be only thinking about you and only you, and no one else. So Nurul said they will come back later. That's absolutely fine. You can always join me later, or leave, in case if you never show up on my live stream, they can always come back later on, or after the live stream ends, you can always leave a comment in the in the video, basically. So I just want to say to you all that it's very important that you are focusing on yourself as much as possible. I cannot stress enough, whenever you are a student and you're single, basically, and you have no partners, no nothing, and you're completely fully single and happy, that's when all of your improvement happens. That's when all of your growth mindset develops, because you want to keep developing as much as possible. You want to keep learning new things. You want to keep learning new skills. You want to develop a new set of mindset, motivation, inspiration for yourself and within yourself. So the more you focus on yourself, especially during exam period, this exam season, the better the grades you're gonna get. That's the truth. And if you do that, if you do keep doing this from the very beginning time of the academic year, that's even better. I must say, that's even better, of course. But especially during exam hall, when you're in the exam hall, you don't think about anyone else except you. I hope that this helps. And if anyone has any questions, queries, or answers, let me know now before I move on to the 7th tip. And I've already said 6 now, so I have 4 more to go. And now Nurul, I will come back to Nurul. So Nurul said, but someone bullied you, but is in your mind you need help. Someone get bullied. Okay, so if of course I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a therapist, I'm not someone who is a qualified medical professional, anything like that. So in these kind of situations, if anything is going out of hand and is not being controlled by you, or people around you are not helping you, obviously seek help outside. And that obviously includes, you know, going to a therapist, going to a medical professional, going to calling organizations that might be dealing with these kind of things, of course, because this is completely out of my scope. But generally speaking, when it comes to these kind of situations, bullying and, you know, not feeling good about yourself and everything like that, you just have to be kind to yourself. No matter how much someone is trying to trigger you, how much, you know, however much someone is trying to bully you, make you feel down, manipulate you, or make you feel bad in any way, shape, or form, it's very important that you are being kind to yourself as much as possible. And I know that can be very hard, but trust me, the more kind yourself you are to yourself, and the more those people realize that you are being kind to yourself, you're loving yourself, you're prioritizing yourself, the least they're going to be bothering you, basically, and then they will find someone else to bother, basically. So it's very important that you are just, you know, prioritizing yourself as much as possible and loving yourself as much as possible. And you will see that you only attract kind people, and this obviously happens very slowly. This is a very slow process. Do not expect, you know, to develop kindness towards yourself at the get-go or within hours or something like that, because sometimes it can develop a very long time as well. And allow yourself enough time to be able to be kind to yourself, loving to yourself, and you'll see after a while people around you will change and they will never want to be around you, because your energy and their energy basically doesn't match. So I hope that this has answered your question, Nurul. And if you have any other questions, then let me know in the chat as well. So Halal Gamer Cat said, who is this? I mean, you should be able to tell me because you're in my live stream. So you should be able to, you should be the one who's telling me who am I, because you're in my live stream. So yeah, and what is going on? Hello by Halal Gamer Cat. I mean, if you don't know who you're watching, then why are you watching? So that's basically my answer to that. And I'm not being rude in any shape or way, but if you're gonna be in my live stream, then obviously that means you either know me or you're getting to know me, and that's absolutely fine. You can stay however long as you want to be able to get to know me and what kind of content I make, or you can leave, or you can just interact with me the normal way and ask me questions, and I'll be able to help you in some way or another, hopefully, inshallah, today. So now I'm going to be moving on to the 7th tip that is very crucial and important when it comes to exam period and how to be confident when sitting in exams. Number 7 is use all the time available to you. Again, this is something I feel like that many students make this mistake, which is to not be able to use all the time that is available to them, or either they finish too early and they basically think that, oh yeah, I've got 10 minutes left, so what should I do? I would just basically take a nap, or I would just not do anything. I would just sit there and wait for the time to finish. So, you know, these kind of students can be there. For example, I remember when I was doing my postgraduate exams, I remember many students, you know, they finished all the, you know, answering all the questions and everything. Then what they did next is basically they just sit down there and do nothing. And obviously that's actually not really good. I mean, Halal Gamer Cat said they're going to be playing football. That's absolutely fine. You can join me later or after their live stream basically ends. More than welcome, anyone. And so use all the time available to you during the exam period. Don't be that kind of a student who basically just sits there doing nothing and looking around and basically just getting distracted, basically, because you're not using all the time available to you. And some of you might be thinking that, oh god, but I am I'm done with my exam, what should I do? I mean, what's there to do? I already know I got all the right answers. I mean, if that's sort of mindset, if that's what you believe, then that's absolutely amazing and good. But most of us have not that got the mindset. So please do use the last 10 minutes that you have left, 5 minutes that you have left to check your answers, which goes again back to my fourth point that I've shared with you all today. Use every single millisecond that is available to you to be able to improve your answers or check your answers, review answers, and see if your handwriting makes sense. Very important, because you're not gonna have this time left again. So it's very important that you are. Ooh, very good question, Sarah. So sorry, I'm gonna come back to you, Sarah. This is a really good question, and I think I love this question because this question is very important. So this is why it's very important that you're using all the available time to you. Very important. Do not be that kind of a student who finishes too early and they're basically just waiting for the exam to end. Or don't be kind of a student also that, you'd rather be that student who is still writing and they're basically writing literally the last word in the last second of the exam period, in the allotted exam time allowed, basically. And so yeah, so basically, so it's very, very important that you're using all the time available to you, and do not be that kind of a student again that just sits there doing nothing, not reviewing their answers, not checking the questions and answers, the handwriting, anything like that. So don't be that kind of a student. And guys, I know that I have received a lot of questions, which is absolutely amazing, and I'm going to be answering them to you all very, very shortly as soon as I finish my point on this particular point. And yeah, so it's very important that I cannot stress enough how important every single millisecond is for you when it comes to exam. So I hope that this tip has inspired in some way or shape or form to be able to use all of the allotted time given to you during the exam season and during your exam time. So Sarah BJ said, a very good question. I love this question. So what advice would you give a person who just got married and trying to study further? I mean, have you talked about this with your partner before? Or, did you before you got married, did you tell your partner that, I'm getting married to you, I'm getting my nikah done? I'm assuming you're Muslim, Sarah, that's what I'm saying. Nikah is basically the Islamic contract that you do when you get married to someone. So did you speak to them about this? Did you speak to your husband about the fact that you want to study further? Or this was something that was never spoken and now he's a bit hesitant for you to basically study or go further in your education or your career and something like that? So these kind of things should be whoops, I think, okay, maybe the connection is bad, that's why I can't see how many people are noticing. But Sarah, are you here? That's what I'm gonna ask. Sarah, are you here? If you can say yes, that will be more than enough for me to answer this question, so I know that you are here, basically. Then I can keep going. So if in the next 10 seconds Sarah doesn't answer me, that means that I will just answer, and she will have to unfortunately rewatch the whole thing, basically, to be able to know my answer. But I don't think she's here, but I'm going to answer this question anyway. So what I would say in this situation is that please communicate with your partner what you want to achieve out of this marriage and what you want to achieve for yourself. It's very important that you do that, because the more you're communicative and the more you are not hiding your things with your partner about your intentions and everything like that, especially when it comes to education, career, and how you want the married life to be in a certain way. Like, these the kind of things honestly should be spoken about before marriage. But if you already got married and you never got the chance to speak about these things with your partner, then this is this perfect time for you to speak to your partner. And the earlier you speak about it, the more they're going to be adjusted to what you want, and obviously, inshallah, they'll be able to help you with your career and support with your education as well. So now I'm going to be moving on to Latif Farzana. Oh my god, twinning. I'm a law student, and because of my exam fear, I skipped most of my exams. Now my registration period expired, but now I realize my mistake. I really want to finish this law degree. And then further, Latif has added, now I'm thinking of re-registering. What do you think about this? I mean, of course, Latif, if you feel like that, that was a mistake and now you want to learn from that mistake, that's absolutely fine. If you can get re-register yourself, that's absolutely amazing and a very good idea. I was definitely supportive. That's what you want to do, and hopefully that, inshallah, you will have the strength, the knowledge, and the power to resit your exam. And Halal Gamer Cat said, what Muslim and I'm leaving. I mean, I'm not sure what that means, so I'm not going to answer that. Anyway, so JCL said, what's the most beautiful surah? I mean, me, the one that I'm loving right now and the most beautiful one that I'm vibing with, basically, is definitely Surah Al-Baqarah. and it allows me to basically reflect on myself as well on the spot. Yeah, so basically it allows me to reflect on the answer to the random questions that are basically given on the spot, and that helps me basically with so I don't know why Latif Farzana has retracted her message, or his message, her message, I'm assuming, because I've already answered it. But anyway, so oh, okay, so what's the most longest surah you can recite? I mean, all the surahs I can recite, but the thing is that I'm not a hafiz. I have not memorized the Quran, and I hope that one day I'll be able to, but currently I cannot. I'm not a hafiz, so I have not memorized anything, but I can recite anything, honestly, but I'm not gonna do that in the live stream. Anyway, so now I'm going to be moving on to the 8th tip that is very, very important when it comes to sitting your exams in a confident manner, and that is skip the exam questions you do not know the answers right away. So if you see, as soon as you open your exam paper and you see that you don't know the answer to that question, move on. And do not think that, you know, you have to answer forcefully because you think that, oh my god, if I don't answer this, then what's going to happen to me later on. Just be the kind of a person who, you know, sees the answer, sees the question, and then if you notice straight away that you do not know the answer on the top of your head, then move on to the next one. Do not be that type of a person who sits on that particular question for a long period of time, and then you don't know what is happening, basically, and then you don't have enough time to be able to I'm getting some random questions. So Moy, wait, I'm gonna answer your question. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that be that kind of a person who sees a question, you notice it, you understood that you don't know the answer right away. So what you're gonna do is move on to the next one. Do not be sitting on that particular question for a long period of time and wasting your energy and time thinking that what is going to be the answer for this question, because there might be some other questions that might be coming up in the exam paper that you know the answer of, but again, you're not answering. Why? Because you're thinking that if I have to answer this particular one in front of me, and obviously that's not very helpful, that's not really good. And and it's very, very important that you are prioritizing the number of questions, and you know, questions that you, first of all, you have to answer the questions that you know the answers of, and then you go back to the ones that you don't know. So yeah, so it's very, very important. And please be the type of a person who also making sure that you answer all the questions, even if you think they might be wrong. Just answer all the questions that you're given, because there's not really any point to there's not really any point you missing out any answers, because again, even if you might be thinking that it might be the wrong answer, it might be the right answer, you never know. So you have to answer all of the questions as much as possible when it comes to the exam. And yeah, so yeah, so never ever skip any questions, number one. And number two, make sure that you're skipping the questions that you don't know the answer of right away, and you just move on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. And that's how you keep doing. And then obviously when you have enough time left in the end, you always come back to those questions that you didn't know the answer of at the beginning, and you try to give some kind of an answer. Never ever leave any answers blank in the exam paper. And hope that this has been I hope that this has been very helpful for you. And yeah, so now I'm going to be answering any questions. So Moy said, what do you think about Islamophobia? I mean, everybody has their own views. That's what I'm going to say. Everybody has their own views on what is right, what is wrong, and everybody has their own right to think whatever they want, basically. But my opinion is that everybody should love each other, and everybody's a brother and sister in some way or another. Obviously, we're all divided by culture, you know, nationality, religion, and everything like that, but we're all from, you know, we're all the same but different, basically. And we should be appreciative of the fact that we are basically different, and we are different flavors, basically. So yeah, that's basically my opinion on that, honestly. And I mean, I guess the people in my chat are commenting and chatting with one another. That's amazing. And so if no one has any questions or queries about the tips that I've shared with you all so far, then I'm going to be moving on very quickly to the 9th tip and then the 10th tip, and then I'm going to be signing off from this live stream, because this is going to be almost an hour, which is very cool. So yeah, does anyone have any questions, queries, Moa or Halal Gamer? Let me know. So anyway, so I don't think anyone's had any questions or queries or answers or comments about whatever I just shared so far. I feel like I can't speak today. That's weird. So the number 9 tip that I'm going to be sharing with you all today, which is one of the last ones, is that when answering the exam questions, think like an examiner. what I'm trying to say here, this has to be properly elaborated, and the reason why I'm saying it like this is because I feel like that you need to be thinking how an examiner thinks when you're answering the exam questions. And the reason why I say this is because you cannot be just blabbering on all the stuff basically. Oh, so Moa has asked me a question. I'm going to come back to this after I explain this point. So Moa, if you can stay back and wait for me. So what I'm trying to say here is that think like an examiner when you're answering the questions. And the reason why I say this is because the more, just because an examiner has asked you a question in the exam paper, it doesn't mean that you have to basically put everything out of that particular topic. So if the question is only 1 mark, do not write a 5-mark long answer, because it doesn't really make sense. Honestly, you're just wasting your time. So be pick and choosy about how you want to word your answers and how that's going to help you basically, and how that's going to answer the question. Do not be that kind of a person who is just vomiting out all of the knowledge that you have about a certain topic, especially if it's a 1-mark 2-mark basically question, because again, that will not help you. The examiners, sometimes they're trying to see how well you can apply the knowledge to the particular facts that are given, the particular set of questions that basically they have given you in the exam paper. So do not be just blabbering on and just vomiting out everything that you know about a certain topic, because that's not going to help you. That's going to show that you're very incompetent, as in that you do not know what you have to write, and that's why you're writing everything, which obviously is not really helpful. You need to be very relevant when it comes to answers to the questions in the exam. It's very important that you're relevant. Your relevancy to the content and the facts and the application that you basically have to apply and demonstrate, basically, it has to be very good. Otherwise, it shows that you do not know how to use past papers effectively, basically. And I hope that this has I hope that I was able to explain myself here very clearly, because I feel like that whenever I'm speaking, I feel like that I'm just talking and I'm not explaining properly. So yeah, so think like an examiner. Don't be like a person who, your examiner should be able to see your answers and be like, this person has done a lot of past papers, and I can tell why, because they have not just blabbered on or vomited out all of the knowledge that's basically that they know. I mean, Halal Gamer, if you don't like me talking, then you don't have to stay here. And because these are live streams and these are unfortunately one-sided, that means that I cannot allow people to talk to me. But anyway, completely up to people who want to join me and listen to me, and anyone can go. You do not have to be here. So yeah, so I'm gonna go back to now Moi, who asked me a very good question. How do you focus more on studies? That is a very, very good question, and I feel like that this completely depends on I think that the you can focus on your studies the more you have a purpose set out why you're studying. And once you've set out your purpose and your motivation as to why you're studying in the first place, I think focusing becomes very natural, because you know your behind the scenes goal of why you're actually studying in the first place. So if your main goal is to get into the best university, then that's your main goal, and you need to be putting out your why basically as much as possible. And you need to be basically making sure that you always know your purpose. So for example, if you want to be a doctor one day, then you need to know why you want to be a doctor and all that kind of stuff. And it's very, very important that you so it's very, very important that you're doing that. So you're prioritizing your purpose. Your purpose is very important. The more you remember your purpose, the more you're gonna be thinking that you're going to be remembering the purpose as to why you basically started studying in the first place, and why studying is important to you. What are you going to get out of studying? That's going to help you a lot in focusing on your studies. I hope that this answer has definitely helped you, and this is basically literally on the spot. I've been asked this question, and this is the answer that I basically got from my heart, basically, in a way. So yeah, so there you go. So that was basically the answer to the question. I hope that Moy, you have been helped with the answer. I hope so. And if not, then I can maybe say something else. But anyway, after that, I share with you all the 10th point or the 10th tip on how to be confident when sitting exams. So one of the best things that you can do after the exam ends or is about to end is to think about how to treat yourself, because I know that you might be having more and more exams coming up in the future time, in about a few days or few weeks or whatever that might be. It is very important to treat yourself for the fact that you did an exam, you just completed an exam, and you just basically finished an exam. That's a basically very big achievement. It doesn't matter what you're gonna get at the end. It doesn't matter whether you passed or failed, or whether you got the best grades or anything like that. But the important matter is that you got to sit an exam, finish it all, come out of that, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy the fact that you completed an exam. And I think that helps you with so much in your confidence for the next exam that you're going to be sitting as well, because you're not going to be thinking that sitting an exam is such a burden. It's something that, oh my god, why do I have to go through this, like every academic year I have to go through this. So this is basically why it's very important for you to treat yourself. So it's very important to treat yourself after the exam, and I do this in very small ways. It doesn't have to be something which is very expensive. It doesn't mean that now you have to go and buy a luxury bag, or you have to go ahead and buy something new or something like that. It could be something simple as a cookie, like you buy a cookie or a chocolate, or for me, in my case, that will be an iced drink, whatever that might be. Basically, treat yourself, because the more you treat yourself, that means that you're prioritizing your feelings, you're prioritizing your life. The more you prioritize and the more you treat yourself, that means that you love yourself basically as well, because you're not going to be loving yourself, you're not going to be treating yourself if you don't love yourself, if you know what I mean. I hope that makes sense over there, or maybe I just blabbered on about something completely different. But my point is that the more you treat yourself, the more you feel like to love yourself, and because of that, your energy changes, and then people around you also change, that also want to love you as well. I hope that has made sense. And this comes to the end of all the 10 tips that basically I've shared with you all today. And after this live stream ends, what I'm going to do is update the description box with everything that I basically have talked about in this live stream, the Linktree link, whatever that might be. And I hope that this will definitely help you. This live stream is definitely helping you and anyone somewhere or another, in any way and part of the world. And again, as I mentioned to you all before in the link, the link tree is very, very important. The link that you see pinned in the chat right now, that's basically a way to connect with me outside of YouTube. So for example, through coaching, tutoring, getting my essays, or accessing my digital courses or my products. For example, the Productive Past Paper Planner with 30 Amplified Affirmations. That's basically some of the things that I basically provide as a side thing, as a thing outside of YouTube, to be able to help you live the best life as much as possible. So I hope that this has really, you have enjoyed this, and I'm definitely going to update my description box. And I've already talked for about over 1 hour, and that makes me feel amazing. I just came back from my full-time job, which I work for a legal firm basically in London, and I was feeling extremely tired at the beginning of this live stream. Now the fact that I've basically pulled through literally 1 hour and spoke to you all about exams and how to study, how to be confident when sitting exams, this is basically boosting me and making me remember so many memories of my own. So I'm basically a full-time employee, a full-time lawyer in a law firm. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to be here for the next 2 minutes, and then if anyone has any questions, comments, ideas, or about future live streams as well, then you can let me know now. Otherwise, I'll sign off, and I'm going to be here again for the next 2 minutes. Let's see if anyone has any. Again, one thing that I want to mention to you all is that I never want to restrict anyone's comments. So please do not comment things or write things in the live chat where it makes me want to hide your comments, if you know what I mean, or even eventually block you, because I want to follow the community guidelines as much as possible of YouTube, and I want to make sure that my community is safe, innocent, and anyone can watch my videos, anyone can watch my videos, live streams, shorts, whatever that might be, and they will be able to feel like they're included. I never want to exclude anyone from my content, and just because of someone's immaturity of writing things in the chat, and they don't know how to speak properly and politely in the chat basically. So you need to be very careful about what are the things that you write in the chat. I never want to restrict anyone from disagreeing with me, obviously, but if you're going to be writing things that makes me want to review before you can post it, that's not good. That means that you will have to be blocked eventually, and you'll never be able to comment on my live stream. You can do whatever you want on other people's live streams, but when it comes to mine, and that's my core value, which is to keep my community as healthy as possible. So I'm going to be here for the next another, I would say 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and otherwise I will just sign off. And I hope that this has helped anyone out there who is, again, there you go. So does anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna sign off very, very soon. So I don't think anyone has any questions, which means that that's amazing. And as I said before, I will link everything in the description box below. And if you ever want to email me about something important and you want to keep yourself anonymous from the publicity of the, of the live chat and also in the comments, then you can always email me at farzanaslaw@gmail.com. I will see you in my next live stream. Bye.